Hello and welcome to the debate. I'm Farrukh Pitafi. Viewers, Sana Maqbool hosts this program regularly, but she is traveling. So this week I'm going to host the program for you. And today, once again, we are going to talk about the Prime Minister's visit to China, especially given that this visit is important in the context of BRF, the Belt and Road Forum. The third forum of this sort that actually commemorates the 10 years of BRI, and that is important because the Prime Minister is not only representing Pakistan, but he is going to interact, and he is interacting with various dignitaries over there. He has also spoken to various business fora. And there he has invited Chinese companies to come to Pakistan and invest in solar energy. That is again very important, given that when you talk about CPEC, the first phase was primarily, apart from infrastructure, it was focused on energy needs of Pakistan. But because Pakistan is a country that imports most of the fossil fuels that are needed for production of that energy, it is important that Pakistan actually moves on to various important other sources that are renewable. We are going to talk about that as well. We are going to talk about the potential of CPEC and what to expect from the visit. And then, of course, there's going to be, if it hasn't happened already, there's going to be a meeting on sidelines with Russia's President Putin. Actually, that has happened. We can see the video as well. So we are going to talk about that as well, and how important this is, what to expect from these interactions as well. We are going to talk about all these matters and more in order to help us understand these issues. First of all, you must have seen it in the start of the program. One of our very old participants is back. Faisal, Raja Faisal is back. He has 9 lives. I think this is his 4th. Thank you very much, Raja Sahab, for returning to the program. Ambassador Jauhar Saleem, former Foreign Secretary, also joins us in the studio. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program as well. On Skype, we are joined by Brigadier retired Masud Khan, who is a senior analyst. Thank you very much, Brigadier Sahab, for being part of the program. And Mohammed Zamir Assadi, who is expert in international affairs. Thank you very much, Assadi Sahab, for being part of the program as well. Ambassador Sahab, I have to start with you. What do you anticipate, what do you expect from this visit, and how important this visit is?
Well, this is a very important visit because the relations between Pakistan and China are extremely important. We call it the all-weather strategic cooperative partnership, which is multidimensional. In terms of this particular visit, the Prime Minister is going there to participate in an international forum, the 10th anniversary of BRI. About 140 countries are participating in this forum, and about 20 heads of states and governments are participating, including President Putin, including Prime Minister, including the President of Sri Lanka, including the President of Argentina, President of Kenya, President of Indonesia, and many, many others. So in that way, there is a very important multilateral context to the visit. Having stated that, there is an important bilateral segment as well. The Prime Minister would be having meetings with the Chinese leadership, with President Xi Jinping, the Prime Minister of China, and other very prominent leaders. Then in terms of the bilateral segment and the multilateral segment, the focus is on the economic. Pakistan and China have this China-Pakistan economic corridor, which is one of the flagship projects of BRI, and which is in a fairly advanced stage. The first early harvest segment of BRI has already been completed. Projects for anywhere from $22 to $26 billion worth have been completed. In the second phase, the project, of course, will be completed until 2030. And in the second and third phase, we will see projects with a total value of $62 billion. Now that is a game-changing partnership for Pakistan. The projects, as we know, are focusing on infrastructure building, connectivity, energy production. Then there are the SEZs as well, the special economic zones. So in that way, and we have to recall here that China is Pakistan's biggest economic partner in the world. Not just the biggest trading partner, the biggest investment partner, but also it is Pakistan's now one of the biggest development cooperation partners as well.
Right.
So that is why this visit, because in this visit 15 MOUs are likely to be signed, and some very notable projects. For instance, ML1, which is the upgradation of the railway line that we have in Pakistan, then building of roads. Then certain new areas are to be now added and focused upon, as you have mentioned, the renewable energy, because now, because of the international environment, China is now steering away from coal or fossil fuel powered energy projects to renewables. So that is, we already had, there was a segment in the CPEC for solar projects, but now there will be a major addition to that, and that is what Pakistan needs.
And of course, we are going to talk more about all these projects as we move forward. Faisal Saab, Brigadier Saab, with your permission, let me go to Zamir Saab first, because he joins us from Beijing. Zamir Saab, kindly update us on developments so far, and what is the importance of this visit in your view?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me tell you that Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Anwaar-ul-Haq Kakar, is on the special visit invited by the Chinese President Xi Jinping to attend the third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation. And it is the history that whenever the Chinese leadership visits Pakistan or the Pakistani leadership visits China, these visits, either on the bilateral visits or either on for attending any kind of an international event, they always are very important. They are very historical, and they attach the great importance and significance. As the Prime Minister Anwaar-ul-Haq Kakar arrived in Beijing, we have witnessed a great welcome, a great reception from the Chinese leadership, and there are many reasons to it. Basically, the first reason is that CPEC, as it was launched in 2013, we see that it was declared as the flagship project of Belt and Road Initiative. And in the last 10 years, CPEC, under the framework of Belt and Road, has done the tremendous job. It has attracted more than $30 billion of investment, and it has created more than 200,000 jobs to the local people. It has helped in the tax collection in Pakistan, and it has transformed the various sectors in Pakistan that were facing somehow various challenges as far as the financial situation is concerned. And then, the basic thing is that, Chinese technology and the Chinese experience is transferred to the Pakistani laborers, Pakistani engineers, and they learned a lot while working on the latest technological advancements. Either it was about the energy projects or it was about the infrastructure development. So now in Beijing, this is the second day that Mr. Anwaar-ul-Haq Kakar, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, is here. We have witnessed that the Chinese media, the state-owned media, or the other all media networks, the influential networks, they have written the very good articles about the visit of the Prime Minister of Pakistan, and there are the special news coverage on China Daily, on Global Times, or by the Xinhua News Agency. They have released a very important feature on the visit of the Prime Minister of Pakistan. So it shows that the Chinese media have attached a great importance to the visit. Chinese leadership is very much interested to welcome the Pakistani Prime Minister. And then there are many international leaders here in Beijing, but the attention that Pakistani Prime Minister is gaining is highly noted. And it is just because that the expectations and the commitments and the goals that were made back in 2013 about the developments of CPEC have been achieved very successfully. And now the Chinese media especially is declaring CPEC as an exemplary project as compared to the other projects of the BRI, that even in the period of the COVID-19 the CPEC was running, it was not stopped, and it has, somehow there was some problems in the COVID-19 era, but majority of the commitments were achieved. So now, as you talked about that, the Prime Minister of Pakistan has met with Russian President Putin. That was very surprise meeting, and international media has also focused on it. And we can expect that in the future, in the coming months, or in the coming days, there will be some good announcement that will come out from the meeting between the Pakistani Prime Minister and the Russian President. So the most important thing is that tomorrow the Belt and Road Forum.
Assadi Saab, allow me to bring in the third guest, because he has been waiting for his turn as well. Brigadier Saab, your take on the visit, your opening remarks.
Thank you very much. As Ambassador Jauhar has already explained, the visit is in the connection with the 10 years of the completion of marking 10 years of CPEC. And certainly that is basically not a game changer for Pakistan, also for the region of Gilgit-Baltistan. And it is something massive. 100 representatives from 130 countries, they are attending this forum. So this is something very massive as far as I'm concerned.
Right. There seems to be some communication delay. Let us hope that it resolves itself. If it doesn't, yeah. Brigadier Saab, we lost you for a second. Please resume.
So I was telling you, I would like to give a historical perspective, if you allow me subsequently, the link between Gilgit-Baltistan and China and our relation, the link of Silk Route, then the Karakoram Highway and the CPEC.
Right, right. And that is important. Allow me to bring in Raja Faisal as well, who has been waiting for his turn to prove that it is his fourth life. Yeah. Raja Sahab, go ahead and regale us with information.
Yeah, Farrukh, if we talk about this, obviously BRF, it is at this hour very important. And why I'm saying this, because if we look at the timeline of the events, if we talk about last year, of course there was a meeting between President Xi and President Putin, in which of course both of the countries, they of course increased their bilateral trade, and it used to be $116 billion between them. Then they increased it to $200 billion. Yeah. It means that both of the countries, they have ample opportunities within themselves. Right. And in between, if a country like Pakistan, of course, Pakistan is very important for China, because CPEC is a sort of a bridge between China and almost rest of the world. If we talk about Middle Eastern countries, if we talk about African countries, all of them, they of course has to go through Pakistan. And if we talk about BRI has its own importance when it comes to Europe, connecting Europe. If CPEC is connected with BRI, then of course we ourselves are by road connected with the Western world as well. But here the most important was, to me, it was the meeting between Prime Minister Kakar and President Putin. Why I say this? Because time and again Pakistan has highlighted that Pakistan urged to have a sort of better connectivity with Russia through Central Asian republics and through Afghanistan. And of course, when it comes to Central Asian republics and Afghanistan, we have some sort of cultural similarities as well with them countries. It would provide with an excellent opportunity for Pakistan to export our goods as well. Yeah. And if we talk about another meeting, which was with one of the other members from Sri Lanka, President from Sri Lanka, that too is excellent initiative.
He's a great friend of Pakistan.
Exactly, very good friend. China has, Sri Lanka time and again has proven that they are more closer to Pakistan than anyone else in the region. And
apart from China.
Apart from China, yeah. Of course.
Because just to remind everybody, CPEC is very important.
Very important.
Pakistan-China relationship is
Yeah.
far bigger than CPEC.
Farrukh, in this kind of forum where so many countries are involved,
Yeah.
especially Prime Minister of Pakistan being there, he would have, of course, all of his staff, they would be meeting around with other countries as well, the delegations from the other countries. And it would, of course, be a sort of opportunity for Pakistan as well to introduce ourselves in terms of what we can export to them.
Yeah.
And this would also help us increase our bilateral trade with the other countries as well.
But this is second or third time you have brought up the possibility of Pakistan exporting goods to other countries.
Yeah.
My understanding is despite the progress on China-Pakistan FTA, the trade balance actually remains negative for Pakistan, and the biggest problem is what to export. So allow me to actually go back to Ambassador Saab, sir. When so this kind of delegation actually goes, when Prime Minister go, usually we see that they are accompanied by businessmen as well. Was there a reason why we haven't seen a trade or business delegation accompanying the Prime Minister?
Well, this is basically a visit to a multilateral forum, of course, with a very important bilateral segment. So perhaps I think that could have been the reason. Having stated that, I think the other point that you mentioned, Pitafi Sahib, is very important, and that is the trade deficit that Pakistan has been facing with China. Because if we just take the last 10 years, we've had a deficit of over $130 billion with China. Now that amount is, it's almost close to the total debt that Pakistan owes to the world, and perhaps would have changed Pakistan's balance of payments situation dramatically. So that is one area that we really need to focus upon. The second thing is that there are a lot of apprehensions in the world, particularly in the Western world, about CPEC, where it is taken as a political project by China for expanding its influence in the world. And Pakistan has been addressing those misapprehensions, those misperceptions. But I think this forum, in that way, it's important as well, because China now has actually reviewed this whole initiative. And there is a new thinking about BRI, and that thinking is that now, instead of investing in mega projects, China will be investing in a lot of small projects. The new maxim, small is beautiful, small but beautiful projects, as the Chinese have said. So that would be the new maxim. So we'll have to see how that affects China-Pakistan economic corridor as well. Because if the whole policy, the mega policy in terms of the whole project is evolving, so naturally the CPEC would be affected as well.
But is it not also something that is being built on the progress of past 10 years, that all the spade work for laying down the infrastructure has been completed, and now you can actually have targeted interventions to improve the business quality in specific areas?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, of course, some infrastructure investments are yet to be made, like MLN1, for instance, I mentioned.
About that also, we keep on hearing about it. We kept on hearing various, railway ministers actually talk about it in the past, but there seems to be some kind of lag in it. Why would that be?
I mean, it is a massive project, and it's very important to ensure that there's an economic viability to it, and the terms have to be agreed upon, And the Chinese are now being very careful, because they do not want to overload any country with debt servicing that they cannot meet. So that is why I think there's a lot of thinking is going to, there has been a lot of thinking going into this project, and I think, but I think it is moving ahead. So that's a good sign. But in terms of the policy, and the SEZs are very important. The 4 SEZs out of 9 are scheduled to be completed by 2025, and 9 out of 9 would be completed by 2030. That is the projection, and that is a very important segment. But also the important thing is that now new areas are being added to, not just a new approach, but new areas are being added to CPEC. For instance, renewables are going to be enhanced.
Agriculture is going to be a huge component.
Exactly, food security, climate change. So these are and artificial intelligence. So these type of which would be really good for Pakistan. Then there is a question of relocating some of the Chinese industry to Pakistan, because as China graduates in terms of value addition, you know, there's a lot of lag in terms of what it can pass on or outsource. There's a lot of industry that it can outsource where there's a relatively low value addition. So I think I think this visit will be important in those terms as well, in reviewing how we have done, how CPEC needs to evolve, how best it can meet the mutual expectations of both the partners, and how they could involve other countries in CPEC, because that, you know, we'll be talking about SIFC now, and there are countries, very important countries and very important partners of Pakistan, like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, who are also interested in sort of, you know, like in getting on this bandwagon of CPEC, and sort of, you know, and contribute to strengthening.
The Arab world is also becoming part of the India-led initiative, India and Europe and America initiative, and Israeli. And then they are going to be part of this as well. That will be a very interesting dynamic. I'm going to come back to that as well. Allow me to go back to Assadi Saab. Sir, since we are talking about potential of CPEC, and we are also talking about potential of BRI, there are two aspects which are very interesting. One is Fawad Hassan Fawad, actually, the minister who is actually focused on this matter as well, has already stated that Pakistan has not been able to fully exploit the opportunities provided by BRI, and the same sentiment seemed to be reflected in the 11th JCC. Do you think that now we have better capacity to take advantage of those opportunities that might be there?
Yes, definitely. If you talk about these things, then definitely we will have to accept that there were some issues, and there are some issues that you can say that detract the focus, and that is the reason that Mr. Fawad Hassan Fawad is stating that Pakistan did not exploit the real and the original potential of the China-Pakistan economic corridor. There are many reasons that can be quoted, but definitely in the last 3 or 4 years, we have to see that what kind of a political stability we were having in our country, and definitely there was a COVID-19 going on. You cannot all the time blame that maybe we were not having that much capacity, and we could not gain the maximum potential of the CPEC. But definitely the COVID-19 did a lot of the worst things to the international mega projects that were going on across the globe. And there is a reality, no doubt, that COVID-19 also had a very bad effect on these projects that were going on even in Pakistan or in other countries. So in the last 3, 4 or 5 years, if we talk about the lack of capacity in Pakistan, there are other kind of issues that we were facing. But definitely right now, now we have a very good, although it is a caretaker setup, and we are expecting that after the elections there will be a stable government. And now it depends that what kind of outcomes we are getting between the meeting of President Xi Jinping and the caretaker Prime Minister Mr. Anwaar-ul-Haq. So it depends what are the outcomes. There are some projects that are being discussed here that the new MOUs are going to be signed. So if we get some good results after the meeting, and the good MOUs are signed between the leaderships of the two countries, then definitely in the coming year, in the coming future, we will be witnessing some good results under CPEC. But let me tell you very frankly that in these 10 years, if you go back in 2013, what was the situation of the energy crisis in Pakistan, where we were standing as far as our infrastructural development is concerned, where we were standing as far as the development of the Gwadar port is concerned. There was no concept of the Gwadar International Airport. And we talk about the vocational training centers, and we talk about the fellowships that our Pakistani students are getting under the BRI and
being put to an end. But then, of course, because there are certain MOUs or agreements that were signed in such a way we ended up with some kind of balance of payment crisis as well. That becomes something interesting. We are going to move forward and we are going to explore that as well. But Brigadier Saab, one question from me for you, sir. Earlier, there was talk of propaganda against CPEC and BRI. And we have seen that it is essentially spearheaded by Indians, and their propaganda never ends. One propaganda is regarding security situation, that the security climate in Pakistan might not be conducive for such a project. And then, of course, India keeps on investing in that as well. It is a matter of record. What can Pakistan do to counter that propaganda and such nefarious designs, especially given that now we have seen that China is very receptive to our point of view. I was seeing a report that was aired on CGTN, the Chinese state channel, and that was very complimenting of Pakistan. Similarly, I saw Prime Minister's op-ed today in a paper as well. That was also, that speak of great potential. But how to counter Indian propaganda and Indian design, sir?
Thank you very much. Gilgit-Baltistan has been a focus of Indian interference in the past, and with the start of CPEC, they have concentrated in Gilgit-Baltistan, and they have been using in the past the so-called sub-nationalist elements. And there was a statement made by U.S. Probably Secretary of State some years back that the CPEC passes through the disputed region. So that is what the question. That's what the reasons that Indian, they are acting as a policeman for the Americans. So there was news. They established a special cell of $500 million was spent to sabotage CPEC, which is originating from Gilgit-Baltistan. That is the head of Pakistan, the head of the CPEC. And subsequently, they also raised a militia during the time of Ashraf Ghani, of comprising 700 men to disturb CPEC. So they have the concern when this project was started in Pakistan. So they tried their level, but they have been using in the past a group of, there was some 13% they were arrested in Gilgit, and subsequently weapons and ammunition and some pamphlets they were recovered, and they were basically being used by the RA to create disturbance on sectarian lines. And we have a turbulence past as far as Gilgit-Baltistan is concerned. So therefore, the Indians, they have been trying to exploit our weaknesses.
We have Kulbhushan Yadav as well. That is a smoking gun, right? So that is also proof of what India has been doing.
Yeah. Despite all the despite all those allegations, propaganda, the people of Gilgit-Baltistan, they are loyal, they are sincere, and they will ensure the passing of CPEC through Gilgit-Baltistan, the 600 kilometers of the distance right from Punjab to Kohistan. So it will pass through, and it has been, the people of Gilgit-Baltistan, they have been going to China for the last so many years. So and we have to the state of Hunza in the past they had diplomatic relations with China. The rulers of China, they have been taking refuge in China, and then you will find hundreds, thousands of Gilgitis in Tashkurgan, in Kashgar, doing business activity. So we have a link. Gilgit-Baltistan, the region of Gilgit-Baltistan has a link with the people of the Xinjiang province. So that is the factor that the people of Gilgit-Baltistan will ensure the smooth sailing of this project, because it has brought some dramatic changes as far as infrastructure is concerned in Gilgit-Baltistan.
Brigadier Saab, absolutely. Faisal, you had a question for Brigadier Saab as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to obviously add another question for Brigadier Masud. Brigadier Masud, earlier we heard Ambassador Jauhar, he rightly pointed out that of course this time around Pakistan is attracting investments in of course agri-tech as well, because Pakistan lacks in it, and that is why our crops are not of that standard and of that number which can be, enable us to be the food sufficient, as well as, we end up exporting our goods as well. And what we have seen in past is that of course Pakistan lacked in terms of energy. We had energy crisis, and that is why our industry suffered a lot. And there were different other countries who increased their productions, and they ended up replacing us as the exporters. Can we say that this time around, of course, Chief of the Army Staff, he personally has an interest in agri-tech. He wants to introduce it in Pakistan. He wants to increase Pakistan's agricultural production. This is owing to the fact that, of course, with time, India created an influence within the Middle Eastern countries. Reason being because with time, India presented itself as a breadbasket for the Gulf countries, and that is how it gained momentum in terms of their relations with the Gulf countries. So can we say that once we attract investments from Chinese side in AI, in agri-tech, in energy, obviously we are enhancing our energy production as well. So in that context, can we say that we will end up reviving our industries, including the agriculture industry, and we will be able to challenge India in terms of replacing them to be the breadbasket in the Gulf countries?
And could you also include LIMS, the Land Information Management System that is introduced by SIFC in that answer as well?
That is the valid question, and the LIMS was the initiative of the Pakistan Army and the concept which was conceived by Chief of Army Staff. And subsequently, we saw the Special Investment Facilitation Center, and then the mining seminar, which we attracted the representatives from across the world. They came to Pakistan, and the potential and the capacity of $1 trillion of worth of mines, minerals available in Pakistan. So the concept is there, the scope is there, and especially during the Chief of Army Staff visit to the Middle East, and he was promised by the Middle Eastern countries of giving some about $50 billion, $25 each by UAE and Saudi Arabia for the of this project of LIMS. So certainly this is going to be it will be a game changer, and Pakistan Army is serious, and they have created a strategic project division in the Pakistan Army, and it's headed by a Major General. And so they are responsible to facilitate the administrative, from administrative point of view. It will be also included a bigger scale civilian setup based on the scientists and experts. Certainly efforts are in hand, as we have done in case of smuggling, hoarding, and at other fields. And we have seen today the dollars, it has from 23.25, it has came down to 250. So the efforts are there, the sincerity is there, and hopefully, and certainly we have taken a start. And certainly the army is adamant, and things will go in the right direction in times to come. And certainly the army will demonstrate its capabilities and potential to reclaim the barren lands across Pakistan.
Right. Let me go to Ambassador Saab, Faisal, with your permission.
Yeah.
Ambassador Saab, since we are talking about CPEC, and then we are talking about potential of BRI itself, and as Faisal pointed out, that after CPEC, of course, we can connect through BRI with 150 countries, and that is 75% of world nations and population. Now the question at this moment is, we can be just a corridor, or we can be a very active economy that adds value to our products and then exports that. Biggest challenge so far has been every country has opened its heart, its doors for Pakistan's exports, but Pakistan doesn't seem to be adding value, and perhaps because of that we haven't been able to export the kind of things that we could have. Do you think that in coming days we can see some kind of diversification of the portfolio of exports so that we can become a better economy?
I think that's a very important question. It's a key point, because the biggest chink in our armor or the biggest weakness of our economy is that we are not competitive with the world. So if a country of 240 million people is just exporting $25 billion, more or less, that's a shame, to be honest, because the per capita export is then one of the lowest in the world. And even in this region, which is a very poor region of the world, South Asia, Bangladesh, India, other countries, Sri Lanka, are doing much better than us. Although 20, 30 years back, we were the leader. So we have to see where we went wrong. Okay, well, I think I can't really delve very deep into this issue in terms of its context, but after the nationalization of 70s, our industry did have a huge setback. But since then, it has had ample time to develop and evolve. Korea's companies like Samsung and Daewoo and Hyundai, these companies from like very tiny companies, they emerged as world leaders, like with Samsung having a turnover of $200 billion a year compared to $25 billion of exports that we do. So what have we done wrong? First of all, our industry, unfortunately, is not competing with the world. And why is that? Partly it's because of crony capitalism. There's a lot of inefficiency in our industry as well.
R&D is also not there.
Exactly. R&D is not there at all compared to the world standards. But the unfortunate element is that one sector, for instance, textiles, where which is 60% of our exports, we used to be before the MFA, the multi-fiber agreement was abolished. Pakistan had a better market size than what we have now, which is unfortunate because the expectation was that after MFA was abolished, Pakistan would be one of the countries which was most benefit from that, but that did not happen. So I think, okay, the reasons, I have to enumerate 3 or 4 big reasons. So one is this energy crisis that our industry faced, of course. Now this was a crisis in many ways of our own making, because we went wrong in terms of the energy mix that we created. Based on the fossil fuels, the prices really went up in the international market, and then we got into trouble. The second thing is that in our industry, in terms of inefficiency, there's a lot of over-invoicing and under-invoicing. Because of that, the debt burden of the industry really enhances. Thirdly, we have not been able to produce any large companies, any multinationals. India has a lot of multinationals. Korea's these 5 or 6 cables are all big multinationals. Even China has produced a lot of multinationals now because they also realize that. Because see, 70% of the global trade is not actually between countries. It's between multinationals. And we are nowhere there. So, we are just fighting for the 30% of the remaining trade. And even that there, because the small companies cannot have the marketing budgets, they can't have the marketing networks, they can't have quality control, they can't have R&D investment money.
I'm glad that you have actually brought up the deficiencies. So my question is, we also don't have an Exim Bank. And when it comes to industrial development, we have seen that Industrial Development Corporation has also been lying dormant. Is it time to revive that and create an Exim Bank? Faisal, I know that you want to add, but very quickly, Ambassador, your take.
I mean, that may not be a bad idea, but I think that because the problem is more holistic than that. It's not just really the debt, because in some ways
you need some kind of paradigms to spread and grow, and then you also need finances, right? So Exim Bank and IDFC.
Yeah, but why not? Why not? But we also need to sort of encourage. We also need to encourage our industry to look outwards rather than inward.
Absolutely.
Farrukh, I just wanted to add in regarding Pakistan's IT industry. Obviously, I gone through a few of the research, and it said that Pakistan currently obviously sits at in between $3 to $4 billion of exports when it comes to artificial intelligence, emerging technologies, IT related exports. Whereas it also says that a country like Pakistan, rich with the brains, rich with the IT experts, it should be exporting more than $50 billion. At the same time, it says about India that India is exporting more than $100 billion, and they are rightly investing and attracting the foreign direct investment in this sector, whereas Pakistan has been lacking FDIs when it comes to this very sector. So to me, I think we require help from China in this special sector, because this is a sector where you don't need raw material or anything like that. You just need the grads, and we have plenty of them. When they don't find a job in Pakistan, of course they go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But we have to create a sort of environment for them by attracting the FDIs in this sector, so that we can simply sell our ideas.
Yeah, but SIFC actually focuses on this sector as well. But just to point out two things, you were talking about graduates. So we have to actually produce more competitive graduates as well. And secondly, this is the sector which perhaps needs the least amount of FDI to grow. Because as you pointed out, we don't need that kind of additional inputs to start producing. But let me go to Assadi Saab, because earlier you were talking about the potential of CPEC and BRI. Let me ask you, we are talking at this moment because an army marches on its stomach. It is essentially the age of economy. The biggest question at this moment is, if we are not able to add value directly to our products, is there a possibility of BRI and CPEC actually working as a value system of value chains? Is that a possibility that we can actually produce in collaboration with other countries?
Yes, definitely. But it depends on our commitment. We will have to show our intention. Some years ago, when CPAC was performing, and there was a fifth or sixth year, there was a research report about the relocation of the industries and about the exports of the Southeast Asian nations, that how did they added the value addition to their products, and how now they are earning billions of dollars by exporting their products to China. So it is not that much difficult job. If the Southeast Asian nations, if you look at their history, if you look at their volume, if you look at their potential, their expertise, they are not having that much of potential that our panelists were discussing, that Pakistan is enjoying, as far as we have a larger number of youth that is very much expert in IT sector and other sectors as well. The need of the time is that Pakistan should need to show its commitment, that we are committed to enhance our exports by adding the value to our local products, and that is the only thing that can help the revival of our economy, and that can enhance our efforts in reducing the trade gaps,
Well,
not
of
only
course,
with China
but
but with other countries as
Asadi
well.
Sahab, my
China
question
is
was
always there.
essentially,
They are
my
sharing their
question was essentially about supply chains. Can Pakistan become part of value chains that might be able to produce things? Because we see the way iPhone is made, the way various machines are made, one part is produced in one country, then it is assembled in another, and a third product actually, or complement actually, comes from a third country. Can Pakistan become part of a supply chain, sir?
And can we even packaging,
Yeah.
we might be able to package it.
Please go ahead. Assadi Sahab.
Global supply chain.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Pakistan, like that we are sitting very next to China. China is right now is an emerging economy, or you can say it has emerged and it has shown its strength. Why we can't act, or why can't we play our role as an element of the global supply chain? We have a lot of potential. We have a lot of opportunities. China has become a land of opportunity, and why should not we learn that how China and the other Southeast Asian nations, they are collaboratively helping each other, and they are playing their role. So Pakistan definitely have the potential. Pakistan has definitely a big role to play, and if I think our panelists and a lot of our experts, they always talk about that this is the opportunity under the Belt and Road framework, under the CPAC, is that is being provided to Pakistan. Maybe it is a kind of a last opportunity. Our former planning ministers have also talked about, if we miss this kind of opportunity, then definitely we will not be able to show our good face to our next generations. So it is not only about
Just to clarify, you said last opportunity. That means final opportunity. For a second, I thought that you were saying lost opportunity. Hopefully, it is not lost opportunity, and hopefully, it is not the final opportunity either. I have to very quickly go to Brigadier Saab's value chains, especially when you talk about the ability of an economy to work with other economies or other countries to produce a joint product. What are the modalities that we can work with?
Synchronization.
Brigadier Saab, I think you'll have to unmute yourself. Yeah, please go ahead. I can hear you now.
You can repeat your question, please. I did.
Sir, we are talking about supply chains, both global and also regional, right? So the question at this moment is, can Pakistan work with other countries to develop a supply chain where Pakistan can produce better and can earn a profit out of that as well?
Yes, certainly. Certainly, Pakistan has all the potentials, and certainly Pakistan is already probably Pakistan is working with the other regional countries, and especially the Middle Eastern countries. And Pakistan has the potential, and the only thing is the management administration. And with the involvement of Pakistan Army, certainly we expect there is some change in this regard.
Right. On that positive note, I have to conclude the program. Faisal, I know you are always bursting with comments, but we have to conclude because we are running out of time.
No problem.
Raja Faisal, thank you very much. Jauhar Saleem Saab, always a great pleasure. Brigadier retired Masud Khan Saab, thank you very much for your precious time. Same goes for Zamir Assadi Saab, thank you very much for being part of the program as well. Viewers, you have listened to our participants. We still have to wait and see these 15 MOUs that were talked about, what actually is the outcome and how it is going to translate into reality. But in coming days, we will keep on bringing the latest news to you, and we will keep on updating you, because this project, may it be CPEC, may it be SIFC, may it be BRI, it is bursting with potential. Let us hope we can capitalize on those opportunities and make our people richer and more successful. This was today's program. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.